This is a Fox News alert. 12 relatives, including, listen to this, 4 sets of brothers are all suspected of playing a part in the terror attacks in Spain last week that killed 14 people and wounded more than 80 others.
Is there a method to that madness? But this isn't the first time that siblings teamed up for terror. So why are family ties so much harder to break when it comes to terror?
Joining us right now to weigh in is security expert and Shillman Fellow at the Clarion Project, Ryan Mauro. Ryan, good morning to you.
Thanks for having me.
Didn't realize there were such family ties in terrorism.
Right. Well, according to studies, about 1/3 of people involved in terrorism cases have another family member that's involved in a terrorist group. That doesn't even include other family members that might be extreme. So we're seeing very strong family bonds here. And that's partially also because who are you going to trust if you're carrying out a terror plot? The one you're going to trust is going to be like a brother or a sister. And it's very hard to infiltrate that. And they'll also cover for you even if they don't agree with what you're actually doing. And we see that happening a lot.
So, and we'll take I can't pronounce all these names, but you could see them on the screen. You could take a look at them. And some of these brothers, ones that stand out is Zarniyev brothers, of course, the Boston bombers. But it's interesting because if you're an imam, you target the older brother, and the older brother gets the younger brother, or the younger brother after that. A lot of times they're like sheep, will do anything the older sibling says.
Right, and so we see that pattern over and over again. You gave the Zarniyev brothers example because there's usually a mentor. You have to have someone that you ask questions to and you get answers from when you're being radicalized because it's a crazy ideology. Even extremists are going to be saying, well, this doesn't really make sense. I need someone I trust to give me an answer.
Myself up in the end? How does that make sense?
Yeah, why do I want to take this deal? So you have to have someone that's a mentor, a religious figure, or a family member that you look up to, bring you in and answer those questions. And so it's much more of an intellectual path than I think people really understand. And they have to look at things like Sharia law and say, well, how is this compatible with what I know of my faith?
Sure. So if 2 of the brothers, 2 of the sons of a mother and father are involved in terrorism, generally the mom or the dad might have an inkling there's something up there.
Extremists get obsessed with their ideology, and so they tend to have outbursts. We see that over and over again. So the family usually does know, at the very least, that the kids are being radicalized. But over 60% of the time, they find in a terror case, the terrorist tells a family member or a close friend, look, I want to commit an act of terror. Over 60% of the time.
Kind of interesting, too. It's really the second generation so many times in London, in Spain, in Brussels, and now we're seeing that again. They come over from another country, and then their kids are the problem. Tell me about the role of women in this indoctrination, with the mom, the wife.
Right. ISIS is really pushing women to the forefront, as well as little kids, partially to scare us, but also for security reasons, especially in these more traditional Middle Eastern societies. It's harder to identify and approach a woman, especially if she has her face covered, so she can appear to be pregnant and have a bomb underneath. In a lot of these societies, you're not even supposed to make eye contact if you're a man with another woman. So how are you going to spot them? How are you going to engage them, much less give them a security pat down?
Plus, isn't part of that the fact that we're on the lookout for guys and
there's a stereotype there, yeah.
Tell us about these 600 women who are part of the Lionesses of Allah.
Right, ISIS is really broadcasting this. The fact that they have women that are willing to carry out suicide bombings now. Usually what they say is when they recruit a woman, you're supposed to give birth, you're supposed to act like a nurse. But more and more, we're seeing the women that are radicalized saying, no, I want to be just like one of the guys. I want to blow myself up, and I want the whole world to know about it. And part of the reason you're going to see this increasingly happen in Afghanistan is because women's rights is such a big issue. That's something that works for us. And so our Afghan allies are going to be saying, our girls are going to school for the first time, and we don't want the Taliban to take that away. And so ISIS and these other groups are then going to have to redefine what it means to be a proud woman and say, we have the women's rights.
And they've talked 600 women into doing that.
Right. Those are the numbers that are being reported.
Unbelievable.
Right. And just so when you grab one person, you got to go race right through the family and thoroughly interrogate because they could be bombers in the making.
Absolutely.
Ryan Mauro, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.